Ancient historical documents have survived for thousands of years, carrying vital messages across millennia in fragile ink and parchment. When we examine the physical reality of surviving Greek manuscripts, the sheer chronological and physical distance between their origin and our present is undeniable. Yet a pervasive assumption persists that we can pick up these texts, read them, and absorb their meaning directly, acting as if no barrier exists between the ancient author and the modern mind. Extracting a text's original intended meaning requires a specific application of critical techniques, a process known as exegesis. Guiding that process is a broader philosophical framework, hermeneutics. The term stems from the Greek messenger god Hermes, the mediator who translated the messages of the gods into a language mortals could comprehend. This network models a debate at the core of hermeneutics over where meaning actually resides. We map this using three connected variables: the author, the text, and the reader. The historical approach focuses on the creator. By looking behind the text, we try to deduce the exact intention the author set out to communicate. Alternatively, we can look within the text itself. This treats the written product as an independent entity, governed entirely by its own structural rules and grammar. Finally, we can look in front of the text. Here, the reader determines the meaning, recognizing that our own cultural backgrounds and assumptions inevitably shape how we process the information. Because the locus of meaning is contested across these three nodes, treating ancient literature like a modern morning newspaper guarantees misinterpretation. We have to reconstruct the original environment to arrive at the truth. This 3D model illustrates 6 distances that must be bridged. Think of communication as a signal passing through 6 misaligned filters. The first 2 variables, temporal and historical distance, represent a separation of over 2,000 years. In the book of Revelation, chapter 13, the author, John, envisions the ruling empire of his day as a hideous beast. A reader separated from the historical context misses the reasoning behind this critique. In the 1st century, Roman political involvement and economic survival were inextricably tied to idolatrous religious practices. Participation in the state required compromising one's beliefs. The third vector of distortion is cultural distance. Modern Western society prioritizes strict individualism, highly values personal privacy, and seeks upward mobility. The ancient Near Eastern world operated on entirely different values, where identity was deeply communal and social honor dictated public behavior. We see this clash of cultures when reading the parable of the prodigal son in Luke 15. A reader accustomed to individualized geography might imagine the father living on an isolated ranch, far removed from his neighbors. The historical reality is a tightly knit Middle Eastern village setting. Every action happened under the intense observation of the entire community. When the father runs out to embrace his disgraceful son, he performs this act in full view of the town, publicly absorbing the social shame required to restore his son's status. By failing to bridge the historical and cultural gaps, modern readers project their own socioeconomic realities onto ancient documents, replacing the author's intent with a modern invention. The signal is further scrambled by the 4th pane, linguistic distance. Even when translated carefully, word meanings almost never completely overlap between ancient and modern tongues. Translating the Greek word elpis into the English word hope injects a modern sense of wishfulness and uncertainty into a concept that conveyed confident expectation in its original language. Similarly, English verbs indicate linear time, past, present, or future. Greek verb tenses focused on the aspect or the kind of action being performed, making direct tense translations structurally problematic. Then we face the 5th vector, literary distance. Ancient documents were produced in a literary environment with operational rule sets that do not mirror modern media. We understand how to read modern narrative prose, but we lack modern equivalents for ancient prophecy or apocalyptic literature. Translating the vocabulary is useless if the interpreter ignores the structural rules governing the grammar and the genre. Geographical distance creates the 6th barrier to understanding. To see the impact of geography, look at Revelation chapter 3, where the church in Laodicea is warned, "I wish you were either hot or cold. Because you are lukewarm, I am about to spit you out." The standard modern reading maps temperature to spiritual passion. Hot means zealous for God. Cold means outright rejection. Lukewarm implies a wishy-washy, fence-sitting compromise. This topological map of 1st century Asia Minor reveals the flaw in that assumption. Laodicea had a poor local water supply, but it was strategically flanked by 2 cities famous for their aquatic geography. To the north, Hierapolis possessed famous medicinal mineral springs. Hot water provided healing. It was useful. To the south, Colossae was known for its refreshingly cold mountain springs, which provided useful refreshment. However, Laodicea piped its water in from a distance. By the time it arrived, the water was tepid, stagnant, and mineralized. The local population knew lukewarm water was sickening. John uses this local municipal infrastructure to warn the church against spiritual uselessness. Without this geographical bridge, modern readers project their own socio-economic realities onto the text, replacing the author's intent with a modern invention. As this model demonstrates, meaning does not magically transcend time. To hear the signal clearly, we must actively align the filters. We must systematically bridge the temporal, historical, cultural, linguistic, literary, and geographical distances separating us from the source. If a reader lacks this framework, they will automatically backfill ancient gaps with modern biases. Exegesis focuses on uncovering the author's original matrix to discover what the text meant to its first audience. This reconstruction allows the interpreter to see the document as it was intended, rather than how it feels to us today. Hermeneutics provides the tools to navigate the actual mechanics of ancient communication. Only by respecting the vast distances between the ancient world and the modern mind can we bridge the millennia and recover the true signal of the past.